The whiskey burned my throat as I tossed back the shot, but the sting was nothing compared to the storm raging inside me. I glanced around the room, my living room no, the stage I'd set for tonight's performance. The mismatched furniture, dim lighting, and table covered in liquor bottles and question cards weren't just for ambience. They were props in a carefully crafted plan to unearth the truth. My friends sat awkwardly, their laughter forced, their curiosity barely masking their unease. None of them knew what this game night was really about. Only I did. And soon, Lisa would, too. I adjusted the collar of my flannel shirt and plastered a smile on my face as Lisa walked through the door. She was radiant, as always, with her wavy chestnut hair and a confidence that seemed unshakable. But tonight, I noticed the flicker of hesitation in her eyes as she took in the setup. "What's this?" Lisa asked, gesturing toward the table. Her voice was light, but I could sense the undercurrent of suspicion. "Game night," I replied, forcing enthusiasm into my voice. "Truth or drink?" Thought it'd be fun to switch things up. Lisa laughed softly, though her gaze lingered on the cards a beat too long. "Sounds dangerous. Who's playing?" "Just us and a few friends," I motioned to the group. My best friend, Emma, gave me a pointed look as if to say, "Are you sure about this?" I ignored her. The group settled into their seats, the clinking of glasses filling the silence. I shuffled the question cards, my heart pounding. This wasn't just a game to me. It was a carefully orchestrated trap. Over the past few months, I had pieced together a puzzle I wished I'd never started. Late nights at work that didn't add up, mysterious texts from work friends, and the gut-wrenching discovery of a second phone tucked away in Lisa's bag. The truth had become undeniable. Lisa had been cheating on me for years, but I wasn't the type to confront things head-on. I needed proof, a confession, something that would make Lisa's betrayal irrefutable. Tonight, I intended to get it. "All right," I began, holding up the cards. "The rules are simple. I'll ask a question. You either answer truthfully, or you take a drink. No skipping your turn, no dodging." The group murmured their agreement, though the tension was palpable. Lisa leaned back in her chair, swirling her wine glass with a nonchalance that made my stomach churn. The first few rounds were light-hearted, filled with laughter and harmless admissions. "What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done in public? Have you ever lied to get out of work?" Easy questions that kept everyone at ease. But as the game progressed, I began to push the boundaries. "What's the biggest secret you've ever kept from someone you love?" I asked, my eyes locked on Lisa. The room fell silent. Lisa's smile faltered for just a moment before she lifted her glass. "Guess I'll drink to that," she said with a laugh that didn't quite reach her eyes. My jaw tightened, but I played it cool. I knew this wouldn't be easy. Emma's turn came next. She glanced at me before asking, "If you could go back and change one decision you've made in a relationship, what would it be?" Lisa's cheeks flushed as she looked down at her wine. She didn't answer. "Lisa?" Emma prompted. "Oh, come on," Lisa said, waving a hand dismissively. "This is getting a little too serious. Isn't this supposed to be fun?" "It's just a question," I said, my voice steady but firm. "You can answer or drink." Lisa hesitated, then took another sip. The table exchanged uneasy glances. As the night wore on, the questions grew sharper, more personal. My pulse raced with every round. Finally, it was my turn again. I picked up a card, though I didn't need to read it. I'd memorized this one. "Have you ever cheated on someone you were in a committed relationship with?" The air in the room seemed to freeze. Lisa's eyes met mine, wide with disbelief. "Jake," she said slowly. "What is this?" "It's a question," I said, my voice calm but cold. "Answer it." Lisa's gaze darted around the table, searching for support. "I don't think this is appropriate," she said, her tone defensive. "Why not?" Emma interjected, her arms crossed. It's a fair question. Lisa's hand shook as she reached for her glass. She downed the shot in one gulp and slammed the glass on the table. Happy? She snapped, glaring at me, but I wasn't done. Drinking doesn't answer the question, I said. It just avoids it. Lisa stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. I don't have to sit here and take this, she said, grabbing her purse. Sit down, I said, my voice low but commanding. The room went silent again. Lisa hesitated, then slowly lowered herself back into her seat. I leaned forward, my elbows on the table. I know, Lisa, I said, my voice breaking slightly. I know about the late nights, the lies, the other phone. I know everything. Lisa's face drained of color. Jake, save it, I said, holding up a hand. I just want to hear you say it. Admit what you've done. The room was deathly quiet. Lisa's lips trembled as tears filled her eyes. I made a mistake, she whispered. But it didn't mean anything, Jake. It was never about you. I laughed bitterly. Not about me. You've been lying to me for years, Lisa. How is that not about me? Lisa's tears spilled over, and she buried her face in her hands. The rest of the group sat in stunned silence, unsure of what to do or say. I stood, my hands shaking. I think we're done here, I said, my voice thick with emotion. You can go. Lisa looked up at me, her face streaked with mascara. Jake, please. Leave, I said, my voice firmer this time. Lisa hesitated, then grabbed her things and hurried out the door. The sound of it closing echoed through the room. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Emma got up and wrapped me in a hug. I'm sorry, she whispered. I nodded, unable to speak. I'd gotten the truth I'd sought, but it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like the end of something I'd once believed in. The group quietly packed up the game and left, giving me the space I needed. That night, I sat alone in my now empty living room, staring at the scattered cards on the table. The truth had come out, but it didn't bring the closure I'd hoped for. Instead, it left a gaping hole where trust and love had once been. But as painful as it was, I knew one thing for certain: it was better to face the truth than live in a lie.